Hello! I'm super excited to talk about this topic today, which is why I transitioned from bodybuilding to CrossFit. Now, my fitness sporting journey has been going on for years and years and years. I mean, I first started sport when I was 5 years old, and that was ballet. But in this video, I'm just going to get into a bit of a background of my sporting history, what I've been up to most recently, and to this present day. So I'm 22 years old, for any of you that do not know. Next week I'm turning 23, and yeah, I've been doing sport since I was 5 years old, and that started with ballet. I don't really know or remember too much about that, to be honest. I just remember my mum taking me and me doing a few, I don't know if they're called competitions or grading things in this hall. I don't actually remember too much, but I do remember doing that. And that was in Boston, I don't know if Boston is a city or a town actually, but a place that I used to go, where my parents used to take me. And then we moved from Coningsby, which is where I'd lived, to the town that I'm in now. And yeah, I just didn't rejoin a ballet class. My parents took me swimming and soon after gymnastics, and then I started my athletics journey at 8 years old. So if you can't tell by now, I have done individual sports my whole life. I have tried other team sports, but I think because I wasn't in that dynamic from a young age, working in a team, having great teamwork skills, I think I just did better at individual sports. I then started to take gymnastics a lot more seriously and did a few I don't know if they were national competitions, but I went all the way to Spalding, which was this massive gymnastics complex, and did a few competitions there, which were extremely nerve-wracking. They had a massive, obviously square Olympic or just standard gymnastics floor, which my gym that I trained at didn't have. So for me to go there was just absolutely unreal, unbelievable. And then I kind of just fell out of love with gymnastics, and I also took up dancing, freestyle disco dancing. If anybody knows what that is, quite a lot of people will know, but quite a lot of people will not know what that is. If you don't know, look it up on YouTube. That's what I used to do when I was younger. I used to watch freestyle disco dancing routines and gymnastics routines, gymnastic halls. Loads of little kids, especially in America when I was that age, people the same age as me were getting like bars and beams and floors for their Christmas present, and I was just in awe watching them. So anyway, that's aside from the point, but yeah, so freestyle disco dancing, and I did that for a few years alongside my athletics. But I just feel like the whole sport was kind of a fix. No offense to anybody that's watching this who does freestyle disco dancing. So what I mean by me thinking that it's a fix is basically, for those of you that don't know, judges stand around a dance floor, which is obviously usually like a rectangle. Stand around the dance floor, you all dance in the middle, and you like run to each judge. It sounds quite confusing, but if you watch the videos then you'll know the concept. But the thing that I really didn't like is that most of the judges were from dance schools, and they weren't anonymous. So a lot of the people that would get in the finals and win all the time, obviously they were from their dance schools, which was just totally wrong. Like, I feel like it wasn't based on how well you could dance, it was like who you knew. So yeah, I soon started to fall out of love with that sport, and especially because with athletics, if you come across that line first, you've won. Whereas in dancing, it was kind of just who the judges liked. It wasn't, I personally do not think that it was on your dancing abilities. And one example from this is that I went to a dance comp weekend and all the judges were anonymous, and I won both of my dance categories, and then in the pairs section I think we came third or something like that. But then I'd go to another bigger comp and I didn't even get like one recall, and I knew that I wasn't like the worst dancer. So I just, yeah, from that point where I didn't get the recalls, that was when I knew, like, even though I was a child, I knew that my parents were just pumping money into this business, which was completely wrong and, in my opinion, unethical. So yeah, that dancing career journey didn't last very long. With my athletics journey, I started athletics from the age of 8 and obviously did dance alongside athletics. Quit dance when I was about 14, and then from that age in athletics I was a sprinter, if you like, or really liked the hurdles. I wasn't any good, but that's just the event that I really liked doing. Did the long jump, just did a bit of everything really. I was never like amazing at one sport. At the athletics competitions, most of them were like team events, so you'd have to come together, do different events to collect points for your team, and it was like a league kind of. And yeah, they used to put me in this event called hammer throw, and I did really enjoy it. I was no good at it, but I was like, do you know what, this is so fun. Like, there's no pressure for me in the hammer throw compared to when I was doing long jump or the running. Like, I used to get extremely anxious when I was ever doing running races or anything like that, whereas with the hammer I felt like all that weight just like lifted off my shoulders. So something kind of clicked with that, and every competition that I'd go to, I'd end up getting a PB, which isn't very common in like the athletic world. You don't necessarily PB every single time, but with this event, when I first started out, I was PBing and I was like, do you know what, I actually really like this event. So in 2017 my mum reached out to a athletics coach in Hull, who quite a few people close to me, not necessarily close to me then, but I would class them as like my friends now, they trained at Hull, and my mum obviously reached out to the coach and said, can my daughter come train? I went and trained. Fast forward to 2021, I did numerous competitions across the country. I went to English Schools Championships, competed at the Northerns, and yeah, my athletic kind of, not career, but my athletic journey kind of bloomed, and I got to a position where I was really enjoying it and I was doing quite well, as opposed to obviously the other events, because I was focusing on just hammer throw. But then obviously COVID hit and my motivation just completely plummeted because I was at home and living with my partner. There was a lot of thoughts going through my head, and a lot of things that made me think that wasn't right, that wasn't okay. So yeah, eventually I ended up quitting athletics in 2021. I did a few sessions post-COVID, but I just wasn't feeling it at all, so made the decision to quit and started going to the gym. So I did actually start going to the gym in 2019 before COVID, but I had no idea what I was doing. Would kind of just go on like one machine, do like 5 reps, another machine like 3 reps, just exploring the gym really. Didn't have like a set plan that I followed, but I always knew that to complement my hammer throwing, I had to go to the gym and do some sort of like weight training. And then obviously COVID hit, gyms didn't properly reopen until like 2021. So 2021 I'd say was the start of my proper gym journey, gym fitness health journey. I picked up the gym, was absolutely loving it. I became obsessed. In this time I started to build up my Instagram into like a fitness gym content Instagram page, and was absolutely loving it. Being able to show people what sort of exercises I do and showing off different gym fits, because at that time I was literally just buying gym wear every single week. It came to a point where I was again obsessed with buying gym wear, and then a few companies actually started to reach out to me and offer me like gifted gym wear, which was absolutely unbelievable, and I'm so grateful to those companies that actually reached out to me as a new aspiring influencer, because if it weren't for you, I wouldn't be where I am today, and you gave me the confidence that I can do this and you believed in me. That's how I see it anyway. But yeah, basically going to the gym, was training on my own again, all my life done individual sports. I think I took a friend to the first few sessions at the gym that I was going to, because I was a little bit nervous, but then after that, like for years, just going on my own, training on my own. My athletics coach at the time always said to me, you need to be doing CrossFit. CrossFit is incredible and it will complement your hammer throwing so much, because you do a lot of power or weightlifting, like snatches, cleans, jerks, lifts like that. And I was always like, no, I'm not going to CrossFit because everybody at my local CrossFit gym is way too fit for me. Like, I would just be pulling everybody back. Like, I had such fear of judgment back then and just didn't want to step out of my comfort zone. So I kind of just dismissed the whole CrossFit idea because I was like, no, I'm not good enough yet. And what's funny is that I did actually do a week's work experience at that CrossFit gym back in 2018, but because I'd seen how amazing everybody was, I was like, no way am I going there because I'll just be so out of place. But obviously looking back now, that would have been such an amazing thing for me to do because everybody at that gym is so welcoming and comforting, but I'll get to that anyway. So yeah, I then was just going to the gym and I really felt like something was missing. I felt like I was doing all this training but not competing for anything. I don't know if that makes sense to anybody that has done sport their whole life, but from being the age of 5 up until 20 and doing competitions, and then all of a sudden that's not really taken away from you because it was my own decision, but it's not in your life anymore. I felt quite lost, and yeah, I don't know, I just felt like I was missing that kind of like competing aspect of my life. So I got in touch with a few friends and I actually went with one of my friends to her hockey club, and I think I went for quite a few sessions actually. I did actually really enjoy it. I felt like I got a right sweat on, and yeah, it was really fun. All the girls there were really nice and the coaches as well, but for me I just felt like it wasn't like the one. It wasn't like the sport for me, especially because I've not been brought up in like a team sport dynamic. I kind of just dismissed that and said like, look, I'm sorry, it's like not for me. Left it a few more months and then got in contact with another friend who introduced me to her netball club. Again, went to the netball session about 4 or 5 times, I think, maybe even less than that. And that was some high intensity netball, I'm not even gonna lie. Like, there was a lot of older women, like people like my mum's age there, who were absolute bosses. Like, I can't even describe it to you. The level there was nothing I ever expected. I did expect there to be some sort of competitiveness and some sort of high intensity, but that was like next level, which was amazing. But again, I just felt like it wasn't the sport for me. I didn't have the same experience as like the niceness from people as I did from the hockey club. At the netball, there was a lot of cliques, and not just in the team that I went to, because there wasn't really, but in some of the other teams I just felt like it was quite cliquey. I don't know, I feel like I got this vibe, that's all I'm gonna say, this vibe that I didn't like, didn't enjoy, and didn't want to be around. So yeah, I soon dismissed the whole netball idea. About last year in the summer, I started doing some functional workouts in my gym, so kind of low-key transition from the bodybuilding to the functional style workouts, and especially because a coach from my gym started putting on classes on a Saturday, and that kind of inspired me to try those style workouts on my own in like my independent sessions. And I felt a lot better in myself, a lot fitter, a lot healthier just after a few weeks of changing up my training. And I don't know if that's just because I was becoming extremely bored of bodybuilding and just wanted that change, or if it's because I missed the competing. I don't know what it was, but since I changed to the functional style training, everything just switched in my brain. And this endured for a good few weeks and a good few months actually. Me obviously going to the gym on my own, doing all these like functional fitness well, not classes, but like my own independent workouts. But then I also felt like I'd hit a plateau and I wasn't pushing myself because I was training on my own. And I know that sounds so stupid, but something needed to change. Again, hitting a plateau with my training. I didn't feel like I was getting better, and I actually started training with a few friends here and there, which I'd never really done. And I realised that training with a friend was a lot more fun than training on my own. And I'd gone all this time like dismissing it and being like, no, I want to be an independent trainer, I want to train on my own, to then training with a few friends here and there and being like, why have I not done this like my whole gym career, I keep calling it a career, but journey, because I probably, if I'd have been going to the gym doing bodybuilding with other friends, I probably would have stuck at that, but everything happens for a reason. So then last year in the summer, after I'd obviously tried the hockey a few years prior, tried netball, they weren't for me, I went to the British Athletics Championships in the summer last year, and we watched the Hammer girls, who obviously some of them were the same age as me, doing the event that I used to do, and that just really inspired me. And I felt like, do you know what, I feel like I could give this another shot. And I thought, I'm gonna get in contact with my coach. So I got in contact with my coach, and he said that I could come down for a session. So I was like, oh my gosh, I'm doing it again. Like, I made sure that I didn't put any pressure on myself, and I was having discussions with family and my boyfriend, and they basically just said, don't put any pressure on yourself, go and see how you like it. You might even go and absolutely hate it. So just go, don't make any commitments, just see how it feels. So I went to an athletics training session, and it was going really well. I'd met up with like old friends that I hadn't seen in years, and a new person as well, and I don't know what it was, something just clicked, and I felt like this is what I'd been missing. And I think it took me all those years off to realise and to take a step back, rebuild myself again. I am a lot older now than I was, don't tolerate stuff that I used to tolerate, so I thought, you know what, I'm gonna commit. And yeah, I ended up committing to athletics again, and currently to this day I still do athletics. From I think it was July last year that I picked it back up again, and I have done 2 competitions since, and each competition I got a PB, which just reminds me of when I was younger and I'd never done it, and then like each competition I'd get a PB. And I know you can't do that every time, but for me it was just that feeling, that adrenaline rush, and of you competing and then getting that PB, that feeling, it was just, yeah, it was just amazing. So yeah, I obviously joined my athletics again, and then my coach said to me about CrossFit, and I was just like, no, I've tried it in the past, I don't want to do it. And then something inside of me felt like, because he'd mentioned it so many times, and I felt like I was hitting a plateau in my training at the bodybuilding gym, the only other option would be to try out CrossFit once and for all. And especially watching the CrossFit Games all the time on YouTube, and when people would say, why don't you try it, I'd be like, no, and dismiss it all the time. But behind the scenes I was literally watching CrossFit all the time, especially Craig Rich's videos and the Buttery Bros, who like go behind the scenes and get interviews with people after competitions. Like everything about that was just amazing, and seeing all the athletes and all the hard work they put in, and then like competing for it. I don't know what it was, I just thought, right, my coach is telling me to do it, I'm hitting a plateau with my training, I love watching CrossFit, why not try it? So I plucked up the courage, messaged the owner of the CrossFit gym and asked if I could come down for a session, and he actually offered me a free High Rocks session to try. High Rocks and CrossFit are different, but they are a little bit similar. So I tried that. First session down, I was like, what the actual hell was that? Because I'm not gonna lie, they are so brutal, High Rocks sessions, like especially me being a hammer thrower, doing a few functional classes prior to the CrossFit class, well, the High Rocks class, I was absolutely blowing out my arse. It was a lot more, yeah, cardio than I thought. And then obviously I thought, I'm gonna try a CrossFit class. Did that, and it was just amazing. I don't know what it was, but it just clicked. I felt like this is what I've been missing this whole time. The community, the people that were at that CrossFit class were so welcoming, so encouraging, and this is something that I'd been missing, I think. I'd walk into my old bodybuilding gym, and half the time the staff didn't even say hello or anything, and then I'd just be on my own, in my own thoughts. Whereas CrossFit was completely different. Everybody says hello, you all have conversations with each other, mid-workout everyone's pushing each other. It was just a complete different vibe. And I'm so glad that I built up the courage and ended up going to CrossFit, just because I was in denial, I think. Just didn't want to take that step and build new relationships. I was like, no, I was quite stubborn and just wanted to stay in my comfort zone. But I'm so glad that I didn't and I went to CrossFit, because I've now made friends that I never thought, I didn't even know like they existed, and they didn't even know I existed, and now we're like really close. This one girl in particular, it's just crazy, and like she literally lived in the same town as me and we'd never even heard of each other, and now we're really close. So like building relationships like that is just so beautiful, and I would have never have even came across this friendship if I hadn't have gone to that CrossFit class. So I suppose the moral of the story is to step outside of your comfort zone and watch what happens, just because if I hadn't have gone there, I wouldn't have made the friendships I'd made. And I feel like it really enhanced my confidence as well, walking into that gym on my own, not knowing like a single soul except for the owner, but he was in like the boxing section. So yeah, I just didn't know anybody. And when I look back to myself when I was at my old bodybuilding gym, when I first started there, my friend had to come with me for the first few sessions because I was so nervous. And like fast forward to last year, me before going to CrossFit, I was in my car praying, literally asking for strength and guidance and courage and confidence to go into that CrossFit gym and not be nervous. Went in and had one of the best sessions ever. So I feel like everything just fell into place, and soon after 1 or 2 CrossFit classes, I signed up straight away for a membership, because I was like, this is the place where I need to be in order for myself to grow. And one of the funniest things is that this time last year, I was at the bodybuilding gym, training on my own, not even looking forward to training that much, just because I knew that it would be me on my own. Even though I didn't really do anything to change that, like I didn't always reach out to people and say, hey, come train with me, to now me looking forward to almost every single CrossFit class that I go to. I'm always absolutely buzzing, always messaging my friends like, hey, you going tonight? Which I never thought I'd do, because again, I was stuck in this mindset that like I'm independent and I don't want to train with anybody, which was so naive of me, I believe, because I was basically shutting myself off from making any new connections. And I don't know if that's anything to do with my life when I was younger or what, but I think since praying, everything like came true, and I just think it's all thanks to God, because he provided me with the strength and the courage and the confidence to go into that class, make and allow those new connections to come in and make me one of the happiest people I've ever been. So yeah. And me and my friend have actually booked a CrossFit competition in April, which I actually can't believe, because a few months ago I was saying to a few people at CrossFit, I really, really want to do a competition, but was saying, I don't know if I'll be good enough. And now I've actually booked one, because their support and kind words, affirming words, really, really supported me and gave me the confidence to be like, do you know what? You are good enough to do a competition. And people of all abilities go to these competitions. It's not just like Olympic athletes that go. So yeah, me and my friend have booked a CrossFit competition, which I'm honestly so excited about, because me and her didn't even know each other like 6 months ago, and now we're close, doing a CrossFit competition together, and I just know we're gonna smash it. I'm extremely excited. A little bit nervous, since I don't really know how they work, and I don't think you actually find out the CrossFit workout until the day before or the week before, I can't remember, or even on the day, which I kind of like, but I kind of don't like, because I like to be prepared. So yeah, that's basically a summary of why I transitioned to CrossFit, and it's partly because I need the CrossFit to enhance my or complement my throw-in, but then I also felt like I was missing something, and I was turning up to the gym quite miserable, not enjoying it, and felt a lot more benefits doing the functional training, but obviously was missing that social side. So yeah, the transition to CrossFit was well and truly needed. I haven't really looked back since, and I don't think I would go back to that gym again unless I was training with a friend, but I always recommend my friends now come to CrossFit, just because the community is amazing. I personally have seen a lot more benefits, not even just physical, but a lot more benefits in my life since joining that community. So it's been an absolute blast so far. I'm so excited for the future. This has been my sporting background, history, and yeah, essentially why I transitioned to CrossFit. And I really hope that this has not persuaded you, but influenced you in some sort of way to step out of your comfort zone and not be afraid of what other people think, because everybody in that CrossFit environment is there to support you and there to encourage you, and we're all there for the same reason, to get better at what we do. So yeah, I really hope you've enjoyed this video, and I'll see you in the next one.